Well, good morning. How is my favorite people doing today? It is about 5:40 in the morning. I got up about 5:15. I really wanted to get up at 5 o'clock, but it was a struggle because I got settled in a little too late trying to organize my clothes and still didn't even bring the stuff upstairs that I wanted. So getting ready now. I'm gonna see if I have enough time to go to Dunkin' Donuts. I probably won't because they expect us there by 7. The good thing is I don't have to wait on no shuttle because I got the rental car. So I'm gonna take the rental car. To the terminal, or I might, if I have time, I might sorry to whoever's new to my channel. I'm not always disorganized, but I'm trying to multitask and talk to you guys. And I forgot to do a mic check again, but most time the volume works, so I will just wing it. I didn't have no scarf to set my hair last night, so I look like my hair looks crazy. But anyways, some of y'all are probably still asleep. Some of y'all are driving on the road if you're a truck driver. Shout out to my truck drivers out there. Y'all be safe out there. I don't know if you hit the snow. It's supposed to be a mild winter to this winter, so I am hoping that's the case. But there were some things that I left out when I was talking last night because I didn't really plan out how I was going to say some stuff. So that's not going to be the last video y'all hear what I talk about when I talk about problems in relationships. And a lot of times what the causes be that we don't really hear in these relationship coaches and stuff like that. So a lot of these relationship coaches, they don't really promote psychotherapy. Psychotherapy is highly important when you have a lot of childhood wounds, mother wounds, father wounds. You don't really hear a lot about the psychological trauma that goes on in these relationships and how people just keep going from relationship to relationship and not getting healed or not getting the therapy needed so that they stop repeating certain toxic cycles. You know what I'm saying? That's why one of the main reasons why dating coaches, dating gurus, watching these podcasts, it don't work a lot of times because they don't know how to really recognize this, psychological damage. Because people think when they hear the word psychological damage and trauma, that it's going to be somebody walking around acting really erratic or, crying all the time. And it's like, no, it's not like that. Some of these psychological wounds, people are suffering in silence and they're not keeping it real with themselves, and they causing havoc on themselves, their children, and they loved ones. You know what I mean? So when they go to get the relationship coach is only asking them questions about the relationship. They're not asking them. Not all. I'm not saying all relationship coach. I'm not saying relationship coaches are not good. But if you really want results, right? And you're having trouble in your relationship, for people that understand about psychological issues. If you're really having those type of issues, you need to take a holistic approach. It needs to be like a team of players in your overall recovery stages. And the dating coach, in my opinion, they are good at the last stage. They're kind of like the people that help you finesse getting it together after you've got it together. They're going to help you put it into action, because you can go to the counseling, therapy, and stuff like that to fix your either fix it or improve it. And then once you understand what's wrong with you and how to get those things under control, then the relationship coaches really can get it to the next level, like showing you how to, get your partner to communicate with you, how to be closer to your partner, because now you know, okay, these were the issues that we had internally. Now we can fix the external issues to be, like, for example, how can you be more romantic with your partner, right? If you never had love and you just faking the funk, you just going through the motions with your partner, and you never got to the bottom of it, when the coach tells you, oh, you're not romantic, and it's like, I know I'm not romantic. It's because I have attachment styles. I have attachment styles issues. You know what I'm saying? The person with the issue might say, I don't even know how to be romantic. Even if I'm being romantic, most of the time I'm being fake with it, because it doesn't come natural to me. You know what I'm saying? I never had I'm not speaking for me, because I over romanticize things because of my borderline issues. So I might over romanticize. People with borderline tendencies they're kind of like the histrionics. They will over romanticize a relationship that's not even really a relationship. I don't do that now, but when I was younger, like, let's say I'm dating, I will over romanticize that relationship because I was clingy. So even though that person may not be all the way in a relationship with me, in my mind, they're already in a relationship with me. I'm already picturing, having that person baby or walking down the aisle, because I was not in the real world. Everything was fantasy in my head. You read these romance books and stuff. I took it to heart because I didn't know better. I seen my mom cheat on my dad, and it left a bad taste in my mouth about really trusting people. And then when it really happened to me, getting cheated on, I didn't know how to act. You see what I'm saying? I got into a deep depression, deep funk. And then I became a player from the Himalaya. This is when I was younger. These are my younger years. There's a lot that I want to say, but I don't really have a lot of time to talk about it right now. But the first traits that my mother and father taught me, I didn't practice it, but the first traits that they taught me is fear, anger and aggression, betrayal, lack of emotion. I emulated a lot of the good traits my mom and dad had. But the traits that stuck with me and stuck out was the negative traits, because those are the ones that actually had caused more pain. And the positive traits that I might have had, I didn't know that I had them. I didn't know those were my strengths. So a lot of times, when people will call me a name, if let's say I'm dating somebody and they call me a name like, oh, you're not all that, or you this or you that, I would actually, like, not all the time, but sometimes I would start to believe it, and I would start to internalize it, and it will affect my self-esteem, because not only that my mom and dad were the epitome of some of these bad traits, my mother always called me names. She would call me the names that some of these people will call me. So it became a reality to me that this is what I am. I'm a nobody. I'm a this. I'm a that. You know what I'm saying? I'll never be nothing. I gotta go get my coffee. I'm freaking tired. Hold on. It's early in the morning, and I am tired. I know y'all hear it in my voice. So, relationship gurus, in my opinion, should at least take an introduction to psychology as far as learning. Just not saying you got to have a degree. I'm not saying that. But I noticed the deeper that they get into psychology, the deeper that they get into becoming an actual relationship coach, if they take it serious, a lot of them end up getting some type of psych degree, some type of social services degree, where you learn how to help people with everyday life issues and mental health issues. But to me, just coming from the rip and just talking on air and just giving your version of why you think guys are no good or why you think women are no good, I don't think that's a good idea, because all they're really doing is just observing that some of these people got issues, but we're not talking about what is the source, what is causing these issues. There was a time where they kept saying, oh, women got issues because they wasn't raised in a two-family home. And it's like, it's not that simple. It's not that simple, because you got people that are way worse mentally that come from two-family homes. Because I came from a two-family home and I believed in the sanctity of marriage, but I wasn't getting it right. You see what I'm saying? I had a failed marriage. I didn't love myself. I was a punching bag for everybody, a doormat. I was probably one level over codependent, because borderlines got a little temper. They got a little feist to them. So we're probably not as bad as a codependent person, where a codependent person might just let you consume them. I don't like people consuming me, because I noticed a lot of the men that I attracted, they had issues too. And they would want to possess me, like consume me. And that's one of our biggest fears as having borderline issues, is that we want to be consumed, but then again, we don't. It's this weird dynamic where it's like a love-hate. Does that make sense? Because we have the approach avoidant anxiety style. Like I told you, it's because my mother wasn't there for me. She wasn't there for me emotionally, physically, anything. So I had to fantasize about what I wanted in a mother. I need to get a move on. And when I get into relationships, it's like I want the person to give me love and attention, but then I also don't want them to make me feel like I'm going to lose myself. And I tend to attract men that want to possess me, want to be controlling, and stifle me. And that made me feel like oh, something's wrong with me, because I'm always upset, I'm always lashing out. But it wasn't just me. It was something wrong with me as well. But I wasn't recognizing my dating habits or my dating patterns, and why I kept attracting men like my father. And in this last relationship, I was attracting men. It went from attracting men like my father to attracting men that's like my mother. That's that song by Prince. She never understands. Why do we scream at each other? This is what it sounds like when doves cry. I could relate to those old school songs, yo. Because when you have parents that was just like abusive, volatile, this became the norm for your life. And they had so much passion behind it. So it teaches you, like, people's version of what love looks like is ownership. They love the shit out of you. They love you to the death. Literally, they'll unalive you because they love you so much. But then that's not love. That's ownership. You know what I mean? Because narcissist people, they want to own you. You're like an object to them, physical object, not the psychology object. You are a physical possession to them. They internalize you. They take their external objects and they internalize them. So when you're dating a narcissist, I don't know, this coffee is not maybe because I use tap water. I usually use bottled water. But it's not hitting like it normally should. I don't know. It has an aftertaste. Nowadays, you can't even trust the water. But when you date a narcissist, they don't trust you. They don't trust you enough to love you, right? So they have to picture what you could be like. So they start fantasizing about what a relationship is like. Same thing with borderlines. If they fantasize in their head about what a relationship should be. So that's why they never leave you, because they have a permanent snapshot in their head about what you're supposed to be to them. They don't like for you to deviate from this, from how they think of you, and they will get upset. Because you'll be like, didn't you say you miss me and you love me? Why every time I'm around you, you act like you can't stand my guts? It's because they don't like you. They can't stand your guts. But they need some type of human connection in order to survive. Because at the end of the day, we're still human beings. So even though they need the connection, they're scared of the connection because the first feelings that they learned as a child was fear and abandonment. Abandonment from usually the mother. People say, oh, women get a bad rap. You know, we got to take all the blame. Because being a mom is a powerful role. And you have to take that role seriously. Because you can cause residual damage to children that will never go away. These scars never go away. I don't know why people be like, oh, just get over it. Just get over your past. No. It becomes a permanent imprint in your brain when you have emotional damage. So when you're trying to go to these relationship coaches, they're missing that part of the element when they're trying to train these couples how to love one another. You can't love another person if you don't understand what's wrong with you. For example, you might have a relationship coach that'll tell you, oh, you need to manage your emotions, or you need to learn how to love yourself. And it's like, ma'am, if you're a narcissist, you don't understand what that means. You don't even understand that you have no ego. People think a narcissist has ego. No. They have a false persona of what they're supposed to be. So they made this character in their head. So when you meet them, you're not meeting an egotistical person. You're meeting a fake person, a fake self. Where did I put this? You're meeting a fake self when you meet a narcissist. Same thing with a borderline. You're meeting a person that has... You know when you see a kid watch a movie like Superman, Wonder Woman, what's the new shows with a superhero? Catwoman, Batman, all those shows, right? They have a caricature of what a hero is supposed to do, right? Excuse me. So they create this character called Superman or Batman. But then they have their true self after they finish the mission. They go back to being that boring person that just has a regular life. And a lot of times with the shows, it shows you the battle that character has with remaining true to self, because they're always having to run into this different persona to go rescue people. When children watch these type of shows, they might say, oh, that's my favorite character, and they start emulating these character traits. because we as humans, we emulate things that we like. So it's kind of the same thing with these personality disorders. You emulate what you think is supposed to be in a relationship. You emulate being a fake romantic person, being a fake agreeable person. And then when the person falls in love with you, you start to switch up on them, and the person thinks it's something that they're doing wrong, when really it's not nothing that the other person is doing wrong. It's that this personality disorder person is not keeping it real with you. Now, you say, well, why they do that? A lot of times they don't know. A lot of narcissists, they know something's wrong with them, but they don't even know how to fix it. They don't even know how to get treatment. A lot of times they don't want to, because they're carrying too much guilt and shame. So they like, man, I'm not dealing with all that psychotherapy crap. Ain't nothing wrong with me. And then they get the grandiose personality in there. That's when the false self is at its pinnacle. You're really not going to get them to do shit. Whenever you're talking to a narcissist, you're not going to get them to listen to you when they're in grandiose mode. Same thing with borderline. When they get hard-headed, they go into grandiose mode too. You remember, a lot of these personalities have a lot of narcissism in it. And when you're trying to get them to understand you're doing something wrong, they're not going to listen to you. So when these relationships coach take on these type of people with the personality disorders, these people know how to fake the funk. They'll go to the therapist, not the therapist. They'll listen to the relationship coach and emulate what the relationship coach tells them to do, but they have not internalized it. So it's not going to remain. They're going to go back to their old ways. That's why people be like, I went with this relationship coach to help my narcissist boyfriend, and he was doing good for a little while, and then he stopped, buying me flowers and stuff like that. Because they're being programmed. That's not coming from them. It's not their reality. So the minute they go into psychosis and become a secondary or primary psychopath, all that romance training is out the window. They ready to unalive your ass. So if you want to be a relationship coach, you not only have to understand the physical problems that's going on in the relationship, the external behaviors, you also have to understand the unseen events, the stuff that they're not telling you, the cognitive problems, the mental anguish. You know what I'm saying?